Hello students, welcome to EPG Parshala. I am Dr. Vishal from Maharaja Agarsen University, Badi, Himachal Pradesh. Today, we are going to talk on module Meaning and Concept of Project from the paper Entrepreneurship Development and Project Management. Students, after completing this module, you will be able to understand the concept of a project, understanding the characteristics of a project, know the classification of a project, and understand the project life cycle and its phases. So students, effective management of projects is vital for the development of an economy because it is the result of a series of projects managed successfully. This makes project management an extremely important key area for developing economy such as India. Project management is rapidly becoming an exciting new profession. It is a specialized branch of management which makes it different from others based on a variety of factors which include the organization structure, planning process, quality of control, human relations, etc. Every project requires a professional and peculiar approach to ensure the success of the project. This peculiar approach can be termed as project management. Students, the success of the project depends upon timely completion of the project within the framework of allocated budget, and it must perform up to the desired satisfaction. An ideal project is one which is carefully selected and prepared, thoroughly appraised and analyzed, closely supervised and consistently evaluated. Project management deals with the project identification, formulation and appraisal of the project. These three aspects formulates the basic foundation for the success of the projects. Now, we will discuss the meaning and definition of a project. The project management body of knowledge has defined a project as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. It is usually a one-time activity within a well-defined set of desired end results. There is a rich variety of projects we used to hear, like iron and steel projects, power projects, cement projects, refinery projects, fertilizers projects, etc., where the term project is common to all the plants. In each case, the project is used for the plant, but after becoming the plant operational, the project is said to be completed. In another case, say the project for methods of improvement, the project is deemed to be completed when methods of improvement has been achieved. Thus, it is not necessary that the term project is always specifically used as a project. Take the examples of Lok Sabha or Assembly or Panchayat elections. A project is neither a physical objective nor an end result, but one which is to do with goings. It includes any known repetitive activity, a low volume, high variety activity, a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or service, any activity with a start and finish, and a unique set of coordinated activities with definite starting and finishing points undertaken by an individual or organization to meet specific performance objectives within schedule, cost, and performance parameters. To understand what a project is, let us study how a project is conceived. Project identification is the first stone to be laid down in setting up an enterprise. It is not possible for anyone to come up with an idea and at the very first time convert it into a business opportunity and start a business on that basis. Persons who are interested to become entrepreneurs must have the ability to generate a large number of ideas so that at least one of the ideas has the potential of business opportunity and adopt a series of steps to finalize it into a profitable business. A project, in very simple words, is a plan or idea intended to be carried out. The success or failure of an enterprise depends on its identification of the project. Students, in today's competitive environment, every enterprise is looking for good opportunities for expanding the existing business or setting up new conglomerates. Idea generation is the first step for the growth of the business. The idea must be technically, economically, politically, and socially feasible. Once the idea passes these tests, an investment proposal is made. When the investment proposal is approved, the project commences. The concept of project can be defined with the help of following definitions. A project is a big work, a one whole thing. Instead of contributions from many different people, it can still be regarded as one whole thing. The activities may be performed by different people, but all activities are interrelated and are being performed to serve a common purpose. The various characteristics of a project are discussed as under. According to Project Management Institute of America, called as PMIA, project is a one-shot, time-limited, goal-oriented, major undertaking requiring commitment of varied skills and resources, a combination of human and non-human resources pooled together in a temporary organization to achieve a specific purpose. In the word of Gillinger, a project is whole complex of activities involved in using resources to gain benefits. Encyclopedia of Management also has given the definition of a project. According to them, a project is an organized unit dedicated to the attainment of a goal, the successful completion of a development project on time, within budget, in conformance with predetermined program specifications. According to Directory of Management, an investment project is carried out according to a plan in order to achieve a definite objective within a certain time and which will cease when the object is achieved. E.L. Hansen also has given the definition of a project. According to him, a project can be defined as a non-routine, non-repetitive, one-off undertaking, normally with discrete time, financial, and technical performance goals. On the basis of above definitions, the following are basic attributes of a project: a course of action, specific objectives, and definite time perspective. Characteristics of a project: a project is an economic activity with well defined objectives and having a specific beginning and an end. It can be defined as a scientifically evolved work plan devised to achieve a specific objective within a stipulated time. A project should be well defined and also includes the considerations of various alternative proposals, investigating engineering and marketing considerations to predict the consequences of accepting the proposal, and making economic analysis to determine the profit potential of investment proposal. Conception phase. This is the phase during which the project idea is conceived. The idea may be generated in the mind of entrepreneur while tackling and solving many problems of the business. These problems may be non-utilization of the available funds, plant capacity, technology, manpower, expertise, or expectations of the existing customers from the enterprise. Whatever the situation, the ideas must be put in writing and given some shape before these can be considered and compared with competitive ideas. The ideas have to be examined carefully in the light of objectives and constraints. The acceptable idea will form the basis of future project. A well-conceived project has a long life and after a successful implementation. However, the real life situations may be different as compared to what may have been assumed. Therefore, no original idea goes into operation in its original form. Conception is an important phase in the life cycle of a project. An entrepreneur has to analyze deeply all facts, objectives, and constraints before starting a project, because an unsuccessful project may become a liability for the enterprise instead of being an asset. Well defined objectives. Every project must have well defined set of objectives. No project can be without set of objectives. Once these objectives are accomplished, the project ceases to exist. Needless to say that a project is deemed to be completed when the whole things are completed and performing satisfactorily. Lifespan of the project. A project has a limited span of time. It cannot go on and forever. The life of the project may be a few days, a few months, or a few years, but it cannot continue endlessly. It has to come an end. Normally, the accomplishment of given set of objectives represents the end of the project. Single entity. A project is generally treated as one single entity. Instead of contributions from many different people, it can still be regarded as one whole thing. The activities may be performed by different people, but all activities are interrelated and are being performed to serve a common purpose. Teamwork. A project is single entity and calls for teamwork. For the successful implementation of planning and strive towards achievement of common goal, the activities of different people are integrated and coordinated. Everyone should feel important and contribute towards the attainment of common goal. The spirit of oneness makes everyone feel important, contributing to a big cause. Life cycle. Every project has its own life cycle, which starts from growing stage, maturity stage, and declining stage. All the stages are closely linked with each other and provide the logical reasoning for beginning of next stage. The declining stage provides the basis for the renewal of the project. The principal stages of the cycle are the identification of a project, its design, preparation and appraisal, its implementation and its evaluation. Uniqueness. Each project has its unique characteristics. It can be exactly similar with any other project even if the plants are exactly identical. The location of the project, its infrastructure, human resources, and various other agencies make each project unique. Next is change. A project keeps on changing throughout its life cycle, that is, at different stages of completion. Sometimes these changes are routine changes, while some changes may be major which are capable of changing the very nature or character of the project. Successive principle. There is a big gap between the dream and reality. Similarly, what is going to happen in the next stage of the life cycle of the project is not known at any stage. Therefore, a project is successive in nature. Sometimes the practical challenges are known only when the project is implemented. Customer centric. A project should be customer centric. It is always made to the order of the customer. It is made to order because the requirements of each project are very much different. The customer puts their own conditions and stipulates various requirements in terms of time, cost, and quality within which the contract must be executed. Next, unity in diversity. A project is a unique and complex set of incalculable varieties. These varieties may be in terms of technology, material, equipment, machinery, human resources, work culture, and ethics, etc. But in spite of diversities, all activities of the project are interrelated and coordinated in such a manner that it strives for the attainment of common goal of the project. Risk and uncertainty. A certain degree of risk and uncertainty associated with every project. The degree of risk and uncertainty depends on how a project has been passed through the various life cycle phases. A well-defined project will have the least degree of risk and uncertainty. Subcontracting. For the successful completion of the project, it requires the services of many specialized persons. A high percentage of work is done through subcontractors depending upon the complexity of a project. Classification of a project. A project may be classified in different ways. The major categories are described as follows. The first one is income yielding projects. These are also called profit earning projects and refer to all those projects which enable the concern to earn profits. They lead to increase in sales volume and productivity and tend to reduce cost of production. Such projects may be subclassified as below. Number 1, replacement projects, which involve replacement of the existing fixed assets. Replacement has to be done because the assets being used have become depreciated, worn out, and outdated. Usually, replacement funds are created for timely replacement of such assets. Next is expansion projects, which increase the existing capacity or add a new product line. A careful estimate is to be made regarding expansion programs. Miscellaneous projects, which include such items of capital expenditure as research, development, and innovation projects, cost control and cost reduction schemes, etc. Next is non-profit projects. The need may arise to incur expenditure on some permanent items, the object of which is not to earn profits. This has to be done to comply with the instructions of the government, municipal committee, labor department, and other law enforcing agencies. Provision of exits, exhaust fans, firefighting equipment, an effluent clearing plant, safely helmets for workers, etc. are some of the examples of such expenditure. Number 3. Projects on which a return is difficult to measure. There are certain projects which certainly affect the profitability and productivity favorably, but it is difficult to assess the income yielded by them. Brown and Harvard have given the following list of such projects. Mandatory projects. The projects which are required to comply with some statutory requirements are called mandatory projects. Service department projects. The provision of building or equipment for non-manufacturing departments may be essential, but the return cannot be evaluated. Welfare projects. Provision of sports facilities for employees may contribute to raise employee morale, which cannot be evaluated financially. Research and development (R&D) projects. The projects which may be initiated to improve companies' methods or products. It may prove unsuccessful or may show no measurable return for a considerable time. Educational projects. Provision of a company training course may be instrumental in improving the efficiency of staff, but here again, results would be difficult to evaluate. Sectoral projects. According to Indian Planning Commission, these projects are sector-specific projects and may fall in any one of the following categories: agriculture and allied sector, irrigation and power sector, industry and mining sector, transport and communication sector, social services sector, and miscellaneous sector. Project life cycle and its phases. Every project has a lifespan which may be divided into various broad phases. The attention that a particular project receives is not uniformly distributed throughout its lifespan, but varies from phase to phase. It is therefore necessary to study the various phases in the life of a project. Each project has 5 stages from start to end, and these stages are conception phase, definition phase, planning and organizing phase, implementation phase, project cleanup or termination phase. The figure shows the life cycle of the project. As given in the figure, the first phase is conception phase, followed by definition phase, planning, organizing, and implementation phase, and last but not the least, project cleanup or termination phase. Though all projects do not follow in reality this sequence, and the span of each phase is not definite, which is estimated by the experts. It depends upon various factors like the location of plant, the type of product or service, layout of the project, manpower needs, financial requirements, etc. Let's discuss these phases one by one. The last phase is project cleanup or termination phase. This is a transition phase in which projects actually start working. This phase is considered as cleanup because the project personnel have to perform cleanup tasks like drawings, documents, files, operation and maintenance manuals, catalogs are given to the clients or the owners of the project. To satisfy customers, clients and contractors, the experts are to undertake many runs. The most important task during this phase is to plan about retaining of certain employees involved in the execution of the project. All project personnel cannot be suddenly asked to go. The first among the employees to move are the design engineers. Most of them move to new project sites because the same people will never be required again at that site till a new project comes, and rest are retained at field for residual engineering. Number 2. Definition phase. In this phase, the idea generated during the conception phase is developed. Facts relating to the idea are collected and presented. A document is produced describing details of the project, necessary information related to customers or financial institutions to make up their minds on the project idea. The following are the key areas to be examined during this phase: quality and quantity of raw materials, calculations as to the size or capacity of a plant, location and the site of plant, the technology to be employed, layout of project, layout of plant and machinery, civil engineering works, manpower requirements, financial requirements, and scheduling of implementation. Further, in-depth studies can also be asked for. If this phase is not properly done, it will increase the risk content of the project, and sometimes hasty decisions may prove disastrous for the project. Therefore, a project is brought into existence only when its idea has been properly conceived, analyzed in the definition stage for its successful implementation. Number 3. Planning and organizing phase. Although this phase starts after definition phase, but in practice it starts with the conception of an idea. Planning, as it is often defined, is making the decision in advance. If planning is not properly done, it may fatal the objectives of starting a project. During this phase, the firm deal with the action steps to convert its idea into reality. Some organizations also prepare project execution plan for the successful implementation of the project. The important aspects covered in the plan are project infrastructure and supporting services, scheduling and budgeting, human resource planning, licensing and governmental clearances, financial requirements, systems and procedure, identification of a project manager, site preparation and investigation, construction resources and materials, and work packaging. Generally, this phase is taken as part of the implementation phase because this phase is not confined to documentation or merely paperwork, but lot of other activities which are important for the project are organized under this phase. Various aspects like marketing, technical, financial, economic, and ecological are analyzed in detail. Implementation phase. This is a very important phase of the project where the people actually see the project first time. Implementation phase for a project involves setting up of manufacturing facilities. It consists of various activities like project and engineering design, negotiations and contracting, ordering of equipments, construction, training, plant commissioning, testing and checking. Implementation phase is a very complex, time consuming and risky. It has a high need for coordination and control. All techniques of project management are applied for the successful implementation of the project. So students, let's summarize what we have learned from this module. Project management is rapidly becoming an exciting new profession. It is a specialized branch of management which makes it different from others based on a variety of factors which include the organization structure, planning process, quality of control, human relations, etc. The success of the project depends upon timely completion of the project within the framework of allocated budget, and it must perform up to the desired satisfaction. An ideal project is one which is carefully selected and prepared, thoroughly appraised and analyzed, closely supervised, and consistently evaluated. Project identification is the first stone to be laid down in setting up an enterprise. It is not possible for anyone to come up with an idea and at the very first time convert it into a business opportunity and start a business on that basis. A project, in very simple words, is a plan or idea intended to be carried out. The success or failure of an enterprise depends on its identification of the project. A project is an economic activity with well-defined objectives and having a specific beginning and end. It can be defined as a scientifically evolved work plan devised to achieve a specific objective within a stipulated time. There are various types of projects. Some are profitable and some are non-profitable. Every project has a lifespan which may be divided into various broad phases. These phases are conception phase, definition phase, planning and organizing phase, implementation phase, and project cleanup or termination phase.